In medieval Europe, knights were not always elite warriors. Rather, being a knight was more of a status symbol. For the offspring of the highest nobility, not having the title of knight was considered a social disgrace. The title of knight was bestowed upon all noble heirs, from princes to the lowest-ranking knights. However, knights did not always prioritize warfare. Middle-class knights, who had estates to manage, often viewed their land and resources as their primary concern, using money to resolve conflicts when summoned by a higher lord. The majority of knights, belonging to the lower ranks, were more like aspiring entertainers in Japan and South Korea's entertainment industries. They needed patrons, and they had to balance between spending and earning money, attempting to build fame and eventually turning that fame into wealth. Training a knight in the Middle Ages was similar to nurturing an entertainer today. To equip a knight, it would take the output of 300 to 400 acres of land. The price of a knight's chainmail could equal the cost of one warhorse. A helmet was equivalent to half a horse, and a pair of leg armor also cost half a horse. Just the price of a sword and scabbard would equal most of a warhorse's worth. A warhorse, in turn, was worth 10 to 20 ordinary horses. So, how much did a regular horse cost? The answer was given by the legendary knight, William Marshall. After leaving his cousin's estate and losing his warhorse in battle, he was forced to sell some of his gear and spent 22 shillings to buy a lowly servant's horse. At that moment, William felt deeply humiliated. However, he didn't realize that this ordinary horse could still be exchanged for 11 quarters of wheat. Each quarter was equivalent to 8 bushels, which amounts to over 200 kilograms of wheat. His lowly horse could roughly be exchanged for 3 tons of wheat. A typical knight would have at least 3 horses, one for charging, one for carrying equipment, and one for daily riding. In addition, knights typically needed at least 4 attendants, one to hold the horse, one to hand them the shield, lance, and other heavier weapons before charging, one to help mount the horse or assist them in getting back up if they fell, and one to guard the prisoners and ensure ransom payments. This doesn't even include the costs of a beautiful tent, golden spurs, and daily social expenses. If we translate the costs of a knight into modern terms, it would be equivalent to maintaining at least 3 mid-range SUVs or 1 sports car and 2 SUVs, along with 4 assistants on salary, a lifestyle that most minor celebrities would struggle to maintain. Therefore, aside from maintaining the dignity of the eldest son, the estates of small nobles could only provide the younger sons with knightly equipment and war horses. The rest had to be earned by the lower knights themselves. Lower knights were drawn to war because it allowed them to rob freely. If the damned peace arrived, they had to compete in knightly selection tournaments. These tournaments were essentially a gamble, where the losers would lose their horses and armor and have to pay ransom. A knight who made a name for himself in these tournaments could not only gain ransom income, but also win the favor of powerful lords, and even the admiration of noble ladies, turning his fortunes around. In the history of knightly jousting, William Marshall was a legendary figure, comparable to a gambling champion. He once teamed up with his close friend Roger, defeating 103 knights in just 10 months. On one occasion, they captured 10 knights and 12 war horses in a single day. On his deathbed, William Marshall recalled having defeated over 500 knights. While some knights became champions in the jousts, many others became the unfortunate victims of the knightly system.